Hmm. All right. I don't think this is going to be a regular thing. I think this is going to be something we do maybe once every 2 weeks, maybe.
Sure.
Mm. Folks, welcome to. Did we decide on a name? I think 4 count's good. What do you think?
I know you had said 4 count and then something else.
After the Bell? No, I think there's already a podcast called After the Bell. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we
I'm
could do
down with it.
4 count or the 11 count. I think you had said 11 count.
Fuck it. Folks, welcome to 11 count. As you can tell, we will be a very professional podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. So, Fernie, would you care to explain how much of a wrestling fan you are?
I was a pretty big wrestling fan as a kid. Uh, I started watching wrestling probably tail end of the Attitude Era, uh, well into the Ruthless Aggression era.
Hmm.
And then I kind of fell off in high school because wrestling was really not cool.
PG.
Some some people, not me, some people, I was there in the 2000s. They called wrestling a certain word. I would never use that term for wrestling because I love wrestling, but I would never.
I, you know, so folks, Fernie made me a wrestling fan. He invited me over to watch
Yeah, I
WrestleMania
held him down.
22.
I slapped his tummy. Be a wrestling fan. Sa! Be a wrestling fan. Sa!
He's a dirty, filthy fucking liar. But you invited me over to watch WrestleMania 22, and
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, that started an addiction that has lasted to this very day.
Yep.
Although it's gone on and off in waves. I haven't like when
Now
I met
Eddie
Nikki.
he trolls the streets for indie wrestling guys and well, you know the rest.
It's funny. I stopped watching wrestling a lot when I actually got a girlfriend. Fernie, I'm just saying.
Okay.
Just fucking saying. Um, I
Keep
don't know
lying to
what
yourself.
I don't even know what I was trying to make point I was trying to make. Oh, that's what I used to watch Raw like every fucking Monday, like religiously.
You won't I think you started watching after I stopped watching.
Oh yeah. Well, I invited you over to watch SummerSlam and
WrestleMania
Unforgiven that
24.
year. You saw 24,
Yeah.
26. We were at that
Yeah.
church retreat. What
26.
else? 31?
Maybe.
Maybe 31. Whatever. Either way, folks. So we both wrestling fans for a long time. So I think we're qualified enough to talk about whatever the fuck we're going to talk about.
What you mean that
Uh,
CM Punk's a piece of shit?
dude. Oh God. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to this, you probably already know the CM Punk situation. Quick rundown.
Sucks
Uh,
is the situation.
so should we just talk about like when the run started to like the shit that just hit the fan?
What do you mean? The Hangman Page thing?
Yeah. So he gets brought on, right? They offered him. So Tony Khan tried to pick him up in 2019, right before Dynamite. Didn't
Mm.
happen. Tried to pick him up again in 2020, and then pandemic
Mm.
hit. And then finally, 2021, I guess Khan has enough money in the bank account, and CM Punk has seen enough to be
His
like, you know
daddy
what?
has enough money in the bank account, Eddie, not him.
Hey, it's his
His
money sometimes.
papa.
It's his money sometimes. But
He asked for it.
he finally signed CM Punk.
Uh,
I was excited when he first came back. What about you?
I mean, I liked him initially, like, cause that's when I stopped watching wrestling. It was like right before the PG era started, like,
Mm.
right before that era started, and they were introducing Punk. He came out of WrestleMania 23 in the Money in the Bank ladder match.
And
Um,
24.
and 24, I liked him. I thought he was good. I thought he was something different, and then sparingly hearing like what's happening in WWE, the pipe bomb, him and his straight edge society with a bunch of fucking losers who don't want to party. Uh, but uh, but yeah, that was pretty much like it. And then I mean, you start hearing the grumblings about like his his detest for WWE. But it's funny because I mean, it's just like you start saying you fucking hate this place enough, the boss is gonna hear you, and the boss is gonna be like, you know what? Then fuck off, then.
um,
And that's what it sounded like was happening. Like behind closed doors, he was telling people, like, dude, I fucking hate it here. And
see,
then he gets asked about it,
mhm.
and he's kind of like, what? No, no, I like it here.
Man, I didn't. So even after the pipe bomb and then that podcast with Cole Cabana,
Wasn't the
like
pipe bomb? Wait, which pipe bomb? The new one
the
or
original, the original, the
the
one right
original?
before Money
That
in the
one was
Bank,
written by Triple H, no?
the Money in the Bank one.
Yeah, where he
Punk,
sat on the stage.
Punk has vehemently been like they said, "Here's a mic, go out your grievances, don't be stupid." So they knew they were going to cut him off right when he started saying something that was too far. It was right when he was calling Vince a bully that they cut the mic.
Mm,
But that was like their big like, we'll let you do this if you resign. He was like, maybe. And then at Money in the Bank, apparently that day is when he resigned, or maybe the day
mm.
before. So they knew they were going to keep him. Otherwise, he probably would have lost to Cena, and there would have been a riot. And yeah,
It's
um,
funny. I don't know if you've seen Paul Heyman's pipe bomb,
which one?
the one where he basically tells Vince like, you disrespected the McMahon name. You disrespected your father. You pimp or you hoard out your father's name,
Shit,
like to his face.
damn. What did Vince say? Okay.
Well, Heyman's talked about this on Inside the Ropes, and he's like, he vehemently says that McMahon's reaction is, "I don't care, pay me money."
Ah, wait, I have heard it. I
Yeah,
remember Paul Heyman talking about it, and he's like, "Are you sure? I'm gonna rip into you." He's like, "Sell tickets, make me money. Go ahead."
yeah. Like Vince
Which
is honestly,
Vince is
dude.
a whore.
Like I get why people don't like Vince. Like if you're not on Vince's good side, you're not gonna like him. But like
Yeah,
if you're on his good side, he will fucking go to bat for you and he'll do some shit for you.
but I think, dude, Vince has been so hard to get a hold. Yo, Vince is his own episode. Like we'll talk about Vince at some point. There's
Yeah.
Christ.
But yeah, so Punk does his pipe bomb, WWE, and that was what, a year or 2 years before he left or before he was released?
That was going into 28, so it was about 2.5 to 3 years before he left. That was
Okay.
right. That was post WrestleMania 27, post Nexus,
He
because the
leaves in
pipe
what,
bomb.
2014?
Yes, right after the Rumble that year, because apparently, according to Punk, he had a staph infection that had not been like properly diagnosed that could have killed him, and that was that big lawsuit, Cole Cabana and stuff. And he doesn't do anything for about 7 years.
Uh-huh.
And then apparently, when he was on that Fox show with SmackDown, do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember he came back for the Fox show.
Apparently, Fox told WWE like, we'll pay for half his contract, sign him. Like we'll pay half. Whatever you negotiate with him, we'll cover half.
Mm.
Sign him. And there were WWE was like, nah, not him. Which I think is a little nuts because Vince brought everybody back. He brought back Hogan, Nash, Hall. He brought Eric
Ultimate
fucking
Warrior.
Bischoff, Ultimate Warrior. The
And that one
only
was
dude,
pretty bad.
the
But
only dude. What?
do you think that says anything to be like, if he's not bringing back CM Punk, that must mean there's some serious animosity there.
No, I think it does. I think it does. The only other guy that Vince never brought back was Savage, and that's because supposedly Savage and Stephanie hooked up when she was 18.
I don't know about that one, dude. That one's
I
wrestling lore.
I don't know if
Like
it's true.
I know it's like
I'm
one of
not.
the
I'm
big
not
rumors, but it's just
yeah.
like, no, dude, that's wrestling lore right there. Can you imagine? Oh yeah, Steph, I'm gonna give you the elbow. Oh yeah.
I don't know if it's true. I'm just making the point. He brought back. He brought Bischoff in,
Yeah. But
but
I
not
think Savage
Savage.
died before he could bring him back. Maybe he would have
No,
brought him back, but Savage died
dude.
in what? When did Savage die?
In 2009.
Oh, he died in '09. Oh, well.
Like he
Oh.
died later on. No, like Savage was older. He was already white beard. He stopped the
Well, remember,
steroids.
wasn't Savage working for TNA at the time?
He worked for TNA for a minute. After his, let me see, yeah. Oh no, he died in 2011. That was even later. Um, So WCW goes out of business. He takes indie bookings. He ends up working at TNA for like a day. He has a match, but it's really just a run in, and
Uh,
that's it. And then he does his album of dissing Hulk Hogan. He was doing nothing for years, and Vince could have brought him back. At the very least, been like an ambassador of some sort.
mm.
But no, he never brought him back.
I
And
mean,
I
there's
think,
all wrestling is a fucking weird thing, man, because it has so many like stories behind the scenes.
yeah,
Like, you'll never really know the truth.
never. But so okay, so Punk cuts the pipe bomb. He sticks
Uh,
around. Staph infection, leaves. He's gone for 7 years. 2019, they make him the offer. He doesn't come back. 2020, they make him an offer. He doesn't come back. 2021, he comes back, and I watched. Like, it was heavily rumored. It was basically
mhm.
almost confirmed that, hey, we signed Punk. Um,
He came back on what? Dynamite?
Rampage.
Rampage?
They sold out the All-State Arena, which is an arena. Even WWE doesn't play that arena because it holds up to 17,000 people. It's a little big. So
Well, that
WWE.
was where they had the WrestleMania 22, no?
Yeah, but I mean that's a WrestleMania. Of course they'll sell it
Yeah.
out. But so they do it there, sell it out on the rumor that Punk would return. Punk returns, massive rating spike,
Mm.
um, and within the span of a month, AEW signs Punk, Bryan Danielson, Adam Cole, and Ruby Soho within the span of a
Mm.
month. Um, Punk has his match with Darby Allin. It goes well. He has a feud with Eddie Kingston, and I
Mm.
think that's when the wheels start to come off because him and Kingston apparently had legitimate bad blood from their time in Ring of Honor,
Mm.
supposedly. And then there's issues behind the scenes with like Colt Cabana, like he's being reduced down to Ring of Honor, supposedly because Punk requested it, but Punk never asked for it, but Khan did it because he thought he wanted him to, and this and blah, and then that's when the Elite start to rub Punk the wrong way, and then that's when all the friction really started.
When is this
Um,
ever gonna come down? When do you think AEW is gonna get severely fucked by Tony Khan's shitty leadership style?
I think this was it. I don't think it can get worse than this.
You don't think it could get worse than this? I think it could
Well,
always get worse than this, especially when the the guy is just really like the best example is that he is a fucking child playing with his wrestling toys.
I think you said it best. His conflict resolution sucks.
It does
He's not.
suck.
He doesn't. I don't know if he's comfortable enough to sit a bunch of grown men down, testosterone ass men, and be
I
like,
mean, is it also fair?
hug
It's
it
because he
out.
looks like a fucking. He looks like he could get ripped in half by any of these guys.
And
Like,
fucking,
like,
I'm your boss. I sign your checks.
yeah, but
Sit the fuck down.
it's also a fucking feeling that you got.
Mm.
Like, do you think like, and I know it's hard because like there is other wrestling companies, but do you think Vince would stand there and be like, "Get off of him! Get off of him!" Or do
No,
you
but
think, or do you think Prime like '06 Vince? I think '06 Vince would try pulling him off.
oh yeah, no, hell yeah, no, dude. Vince. The thing is, Vince comes from a different time where, like, apparently he beat the shit out of I think he said in high school he would always find the biggest kids to beat the shit out of him to make a point of like, hey, I am the alpha here.
Yeah,
Like for the shits and
and
giggles. Like he got kicked out of I think Army
it's
school if I'm not
just like,
mistaken.
and yeah. So okay, so Punk gets signed by AEW. And when does the heat start happening between him and Hangman and the Elite?
So there's a flash in the pan during November with the
Okay.
Eddie Kingston situation. There's a flash in the pan there. Cools off. He's in this program with MJF. Beats MJF post revolution. That's when he comes out and says, "Hey, at Double or Nothing, I'm coming after the fucking title." And he tells that to Hangman. And then
Uh-huh.
that's when it really gets turned up because Hangman cuts a promo where he got personal with Punk, and Punk was like, "Dude, what the fuck? Like you went off. Like we didn't agree that for this part." So a few weeks later, he gives him a receipt. He calls out Adam Page when he knows he's not there in the building as like a, "You fucking try that shit with me. I'm gonna do this to you." Like,
Do you
like,
do you think it
like
was
trying to.
too far, or do you think Do you think Adam Page was too far, or do you think CM Punk's was more too far because Hangman he knew Hangman wasn't in the building, and he knew if he called him out and he's not gonna fucking show up because he's not fucking there, like
Yeah.
that's gonna look worse.
I think they both could have fixed it right after Punk does the receipt.
I just
If
think it's just like what fucking business are you in, dude? Like you're
mhm,
there to sell tickets, create heat. Like
mhm.
it's
I
also a thing of not taking it personally.
I think if Khan had like pulled them both into a room after Punk did the receipt and said, "All
Uh,
right, you got one, shake hands, it's squashed now, it's squashed." But he didn't. He didn't do the conflict resolution. Kept fighting. They kept going at it. Apparently,
yeah,
during the
so
match,
so
at Double or Nothing,
he calls out Hangman. Hangman's out there, and then what happens after that? Doesn't Hangman do the same thing?
no, that was no. Punk calls him out. Hangman isn't there, and then that's when rumors start flowing about Punk's heat. And behind the scenes, we find this out later, but we can talk about it, I guess, because it's at the present time.
Hmm.
Supposedly, Punk believed the people that were leaking about this Cole Cabana heat, about him with him with Hangman, him being a failed locker room leader and being a jackass behind the scenes. He thinks it's all the Young Bucks because the Young Bucks are in touch with the wrestling media. Like they are with the dirt sheets, they love the Young Bucks because
I just
they
think it's
proved us
also
wrong.
like I do think it's never a good recipe to
Mhm.
have active wrestlers on your fucking uh in higher up positions.
Well, there's actually some good news about that. So besides the fact that the Young Bucks have been signed on to extended contracts, so I
Hmm.
think you had mentioned that like how it could get worse. The Bucks and Omega are sticking around for at least another 3 years. So like we gotta worry about that.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, apparently the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega aren't really EVPs anymore. They just have their hands in some of the creative process. Like Omega was working on the video game. I think Matt Jackson or one of the brothers was working on promoting like the company, like the marketing aspect, and I know one was
Hmm.
also working on international tours. So
Hmm.
like they're not so much involved in the booking so much as they are like expanding the company.
Okay.
Um, but okay, so it starts getting into the dirt sheets. Punk has his match with Adam Page, gets the
Hmm.
title, jumps into the fucking crowd a few days later and breaks his foot on the railing.
That's where the whole he's too old shit comes up.
Yeah, that's when the shit hit the fan, and
Because he's brittle,
Khan.
dude. Like he really is. Like the amount of times he got hurt,
But he
it's just
always got hurt doing stupid shit. It wasn't even like he took
yeah.
a bad power bomb. Like he hit his foot on the rail.
No, yeah, like his time in AEW was just riddled with shitty injuries.
But the thing is, the first year I would say was solid. But then they have the interim championship with John Moxley. Moxley fucking decides to forego his 6 week vacation that he had already cleared. He was like,
Hmm.
"Hey man, I need time off. Like I carried us through the pandemic. Can I please have a month and a half off? I just had a daughter. Like I want to spend some time at home."
Uh-huh.
Uh, Khan asks him, "Hey man, can you hold the title? Can you hold the interim title?" And Moxley signs up. All right, fuck it. Like you need me, I'm here. Because that's who
Hmm.
the kind of guy Moxley is. If the negative people that speak negatively of Punk have an antithesis to Punk, it's Moxley. Moxley is everything Punk wishes he was.
Yeah.
Locker room leader, well respected, well liked,
Bleeder.
leader, the company
No,
man, like
bleeder.
bleeder. Fuck, bleeder. Yeah,
Oh, Mox is
yeah.
bleeding.
Oh, it's Tuesday night dynamite, guys. Mox is bleeding. Fuck.
Mox is bleeding. Get the shot
um,
glass.
Jesus.
Every time he
Man,
blades, take a shot.
pretty sure he'll die if you try that. But so Moxie's interim champion. Rumors are swirling right at that point because after Punk leaves, Rhodes takes off also to add to the issue. Rhodes fucks off, and
Wasn't he having some heat with Punk too?
not with Punk. Him, it was more of a
Before he left, wasn't he trying to create heat?
there. I wasn't aware of that. I was aware that there was some issues between Rhodes and Khan about creative direction. That was their issue.
Mm.
It wasn't even money. It wasn't even the EVP thing. It was simply Khan wanted him to turn heel, and Rhodes had just established this great charity for like cancer kids. He's like,
Hmm.
dude, how are you gonna turn me heel? I just established this charity. Like, I can't. And they just had a difference of opinion. And Cody went, I mean, I created this company. I'm just go back to the other one. Deuce.
I mean,
Uh,
you know, I was also thinking, like, quick sidetrack. He never reenacted his he never enacted his WrestleMania clause, his WrestleMania rematch.
no, they're saving him for 40, as I understand.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Because I mean, it wouldn't have made sense. Like looking back now, it wouldn't have made sense for him to win at 39. He was out for half the year.
Mm-hmm.
Wins the Royal Rumble. Like, yes, they could have made him one, but the long road, like, is probably going to pay off more.
I don't know, man. I think
I
maybe you're
really,
right.
I really do hope he wins that undisputed belt.
I think that's the title he wants to go for. There's a pitch right now with Jimmy Uso going to Raw. SmackDown has to get somebody.
Well,
Supposedly, it might be Cody.
Jay went to Raw.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jimmy. I mean Jay, not Jimmy. Wait, Jimmy went to Raw.
Jay went to Raw.
Jay,
Jimmy's
okay,
on
with
SmackDown.
gotcha. Since Jay is going to Raw, SmackDown might get Cody.
I hope so.
Supposedly,
Dude, well, Roman hasn't done shit.
not since
He didn't,
SummerSlam.
he didn't have a match at fucking at Payback,
Payback,
nothing.
dude. It's not a stadium show. Of course, he's not going to wrestle there.
It's just like, yeah. But yeah, so Cody leaves.
There,
Punk is pretty much big dick now.
well, also that was part of the problem was after Rhodes left. That's when a lot of the friction started coming out. Maybe Rhodes kind of kept everyone in check and kept the dirt sheets out.
That's what it
Now with
kind of
Rhodes
seems like.
gone,
It
huh?
does seem like Rhodes is the type of guy to like hold people accountable or together.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, so that happens, and then Punk returns, gets the shit kicked out of him in like 30 seconds, and then has a rematch at Brawl Out, and I think that's where our story truly begins because he wins back the title from Moxley, fucking tore his tricep during the goddamn match. Post match, he has a media scrum where he calls out Colt Cabana, Hangman, the Bucks, and Omega, calls
I'm
them all
fucking
children.
tired. I'm old
I work
and
with
tired.
children. I
I
work with
work with
children.
children. And then, dude, that guy gives so many fucking memeable videos because they always come back to his old shit where he's like, I want to work with the young guys in the locker room, the hungry guys. Oh, and now they're children.
Yeah.
And it's just like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, you do this shit to yourself.
Is he Harvey Dent? You're the dying
Yeah,
hero.
I
If he
do
had
think
never
he
come,
I do think he is Harvey Dent. More in the Two-Face department. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, people think he's one way, but I think behind the scenes he's something else.
What's it called? And it's funny because the thing is, he's so divisive because there are still people within AEW that still support him that liked him. Like there were reports that he was trying to help out the women wrestlers, pitching ideas for them. He would buy them like $1,000 Starbucks gift cards. I was like, hey, you guys are doing a great job. Keep up the good work. Like, suppose he was trying to like,
By favor.
yeah, yeah. But he calls him out. And then we have Brawl Out, and then at that moment is when shit hits the fan. Reports vary. From what I understand happened is Ace, Steel, and Punk are in the dressing room. Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, supposedly they kick in the door. I think they just walked in. Supposedly Matt Jackson tries to like restrain the dog because he doesn't want the dog to get out. Larry, the dog.
Hmm.
Ace Steel bites him at some point. Punk punches someone. Someone else gets another guy in a guillotine. They
So
finally get
who threw
separated.
the first push or punch?
That's the thing, man. Like reports legitimately are down the middle. Some say that Punk threw the first punch because the Young Bucks just fucking went into his locker room all aggressive. Some say that but was Punk defending himself. On the other side,
Uh,
No, we just walked in. Ace Steel threw the first punch because I was trying to hold back CM Punk's dog from running out of the room. I wasn't going to hurt the fucking dog. What's wrong with you? So
yeah.
the story varies, but ultimately everyone gets suspended. Punk is stripped of the world title. The Young Bucks and Kenny Omega are stripped of the trios titles. No one says anything for about 4 months.
Yeah, even
Um,
Tony Khan is just like he half-ass addresses it on Dynamite,
yeah.
and
Well,
then
because
that's it.
legally you can't. Like, if there are lawyers
Why?
involved in assault charges,
Oh,
if there's assault charges pending, if he could publicly says, Punk and the Young Bucks got in a fight, okay, who started the fight? If he gives any inclination that it could go
then
one
he's a
way or the
witness.
other, exactly.
Yeah.
Um, so that happens, and then fucking they create Collision just so Punk can have his own
Uh,
island of misfit toys.
you mean Nitro 2.0?
See, here's the thing, man. I'm not against AEW having a second show.
I say
I
get rid of Rampage.
so I say they should get rid of Rampage. You're right, or make Rampage 2 hours and make that like your SmackDown. Like have 2 2-hour shows, cut the roster, divide it,
Wait,
and there you
so
go.
you'll have Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision?
If I was in charge,
Yeah. Dude, I don't think they have a
just
roster that big.
no, Rampage or Collision. Like do one or the other,
Oh,
but have it.
I would get rid of Rampage. I think Collision has a better fucking name.
Fuck it, fine.
I
Keep
would and
Collision.
I would get rid of Rampage and move Collision to Friday nights because you have too much shit to compete with on Saturday.
See, Warner Brothers and TNT, they don't give a fuck about the ratings as long as it's top five.
That's
As
just
long as
weird.
you could get 3 million viewers, you can get 500,000 viewers. If you're top five, we're happy. That's all
That's
they care
just so
about.
weird because even now, like you have college football on Saturdays. You have pay-per-views on Saturdays, actual pay-per-views, not fucking wrestling pay-per-views. I'm
Yeah.
talking like boxing, UFC. Like you're not just competing with free shit like college football. You're competing with UFC, you're competing with fucking boxing.
Mhm.
More UFC than anything because UFC is consistent as shit with Saturdays.
Yeah. Again, I just have at least 2 shows. Apparently, one of the big things with Collision that people like, and Brian talked about it at the recent media scrum. He said he
Uh,
wants to maybe work Collision exclusively because he can be home more. Because
uh.
you only have to work once a week. Hey, I'm just gone on Saturdays.
And
It's not a
then
bad thing.
the thing about Collision, which I didn't know until recently, is that that was pretty much Punk's show.
Yeah. No, they made it for Punk.
Like that, like he had hard creative control on there. Like he pretty much had a lot of say so in that show,
Yeah.
which I didn't
Um,
know. Like I didn't know that that was true, but finding out, I'm just kind of like that just seems like a bad idea.
well, like if so, apparently at Collision, yes, he did have a lot of creative control.
Uh,
Apparently, that's also where some of the issues also happened. Like for example, Christopher Daniels was asked to leave at one point. Jack Perry was asked to leave at one point. Hangman Page, like, hey, you don't have to be here. Can you fuck off? Because like in the case of Christopher Daniels, he was involved in that brawl as
uh,
one of the guys that pulled them apart. So to avoid incidents, like Collision was basically like a soft brand split to keep Punk and the Elite away from each other.
uh.
Um,
Which I think is fucking stupid. Can you stop being children and work this shit out?
which apparently, from the Punk camp, and again, we're not at all out yet, or all in. Apparently, Punk tried a few times to like
I've
meet
heard
with
that
the.
he tried to make a meeting with them, and it was the
Yeah,
Young Bucks that were pretty much just like, no.
yeah, which I don't know how true that is, but I mean,
I mean,
supposedly.
if it's true, I mean, again, like if you're working in professional capacity with people, you're working in the same company, you're gonna have to fucking like talk to them eventually. But I also understand the point of just being like, no, I don't want anything to do with you. Like you fucking suck.
You're not wrong, man. You're not
But I
wrong.
mean, like, it's also very immature of the Bucks to not fucking not talk to him. Like, I mean, you have to talk to him eventually.
Yeah. Um, they fuck man, they couldn't work it out. Which I mean, you would think, man, the amount of money that they could have made
Uh,
winning a program would have been amazing. Imagine a trios match. Someone, I think it was Ollie Davis, pitched it. Imagine a trios match at All Out or All In at Wembley Stadium between the Young Bucks and Omega versus FTR and Punk.
uh.
Like fuck the Real World Championship. Imagine that match. God
I
damn it.
mean, anything with the Bucks and Punk like would sell because of the actual heat that they have.
Oh,
But
also that you just reminded me of something. Apparently, Omega was open to working with Punk, but the Young Bucks were the ones that were like, no.
yeah. I mean, it's just sometimes you just sense shit about people, man.
You're not wrong. And then they can't come to
And
terms with
you
it.
know, it's hard to give Punk leeway, but man, there's when there's smoke and there's a lot of smoke around him, like there
Mhm.
has to be fire somewhere.
Yeah, there. Punk gets harder and harder to defend the longer like he's around.
Yeah,
And I'm sure there's people like I'm sure like Darby Allin's one of the guys that's like, no, I liked him. Like he helped me out. He helped
yeah.
make me like a house name.
It's like a Vince deal. If you're good with him, you're good. If you're
Yeah,
not good with him, you're really not gonna fucking like him.
yeah. But Punk doesn't own the company,
Yeah.
and I wonder if Punk. Um, I wonder if he thought he was too big to fail when this next incident happened. So he's a real world champion. He's going to wrestle at Wembley, the biggest
Paints a
wrestling
fucking
show.
X on it.
Yeah, because dude, I was really looking forward to a match between him and MJF. Like, god damn it. It would have been the best trilogy, but instead we're only going to get the goddamn two matches. But,
Yep.
so Wembley Stadium, AEW All In. We're going to get, in the pre show, Hook and Jack Perry have a match. For those of you who don't know, in the weeks leading up to All Out, All In, Perry was going to film an angle at Collision. It was going to show on Dynamite, but he was going to
Uh-huh.
film an angle there where he wanted to use real glass to really
And
sell
they
the
wanted to
injury.
use sugar glass.
Yeah, but Punk was like, we don't do that shit here on Saturdays. You want to do that, you go to Wednesday. And apparently, like, Perry was pissed about it or whatever. So he makes
But
the
like,
comment.
I don't know if did Perry and the person he's doing the spot with, did they both want to do it?
Yeah, like I think Perry would have like been the one to get injured.
So if they're both willing to do it, then why the fuck are they talking to a guy that's not on paper a VP or anything like that? It's just, yeah, we kind of made this show for him.
I don't know, man, because again, it wasn't even going to air on Collision. It was going to air on Dynamite, but they wanted to film the angle. Punk was like, "Fuck
So
off! Like we're
they
not
just
doing
wanted to
this."
film with the collision cameras and then they were going
Yeah,
to use it on Dynamite.
exactly.
That sounds really fucking ridiculous on Punk's point of view.
Dude, you're not wrong, man. You're not
Like,
wrong. And
why the
again,
fuck are you just nixing it? Like, who gives a fuck?
apparently Punk cited safety because he was like, "Dude, remember the Goldberg situation where Goldberg like sliced open his arm with a car?"
I mean, dude, that was different. That was a car window.
No, they
Those
were
are
going to use a
made not to
car.
break.
No, they were going to use a car window. The same spot that
Oh.
they were going to do, they did on the pre-show on top of that car. They
Oh, the one
were,
where he's like glass.
yeah.
Oh.
So
I mean, it's different though, because what Goldberg did, Goldberg was trying to smash the fucking window open.
yeah,
We all know what happens when you take a baseball bat to a windshield.
yeah,
It implodes. It goes in. It's
yeah,
not gonna break apart. It's gonna go in.
yeah.
So it's not gonna shatter.
That's
And it's
what
just and it's just
I don't
like,
know.
who gives a fuck, Punk? Like, who cares? It's not. It has nothing to do with you.
I think he kind of looked at it as the proper outlook should be not my monkey, not my circus, like not my body, not my problem. But I
Yeah.
think he was being like I'm the locker room leader. Like, that's not safe. We're not doing
Dude,
that. Where it's like,
that fucking phrase has gotten him into so much fucking hot water before. Like I remember Cody talking about it with Jericho on his podcast
oh God.
when Punk was like, you know what, guys, as locker room leader, we're not supposed to leave our locker room this dirty. And I think Booker T fucking gets a bag of chips and just throws it on the floor in front of him.
Well, the thing is, you can't say you're a locker room leader. You need to
No, you
take the
sound like a
role upon
fucking
yourself.
dork. You sound
Like,
like a hall monitor.
what
Like
was that video?
he's
What was
trying to
that
be
video you sent
Taker
me?
without fucking putting in the work.
Well, the thing is, though, Taker never called himself like the judge and jury. It was understood,
No.
like you don't fuck. Like he just garnered that respect
Yeah. Or he
because
handled it himself. Like
well, because
he did that shit by himself. Like he would just handle it. Like you
well,
don't
like
say I'm a locker room leader. You do it by doing by your actions.
well, like, and that's why people commend like post brawl out. People commended like apparently Jericho for all the shit you want to give him. Apparently, people commended Jericho,
He was the one that was holding
Brian.
the locker room together.
Yeah, well, the three of them, Jericho, Brian, and Moxley, had like a big meeting with all the fucking talent, like one massive room, and the three of them like qualmed and squashed everything. Like,
Like, don't get me wrong. I think Jericho's way past his fucking prime in wrestling. Like, I
yeah,
really do think he needs to retire. But Jericho's been through WCW, ECW, WWF. I don't think he went to TNA. But like
no, they made an offer apparently.
he's seen shitty management before.
Yeah, I
Like Jericho, all intents and purposes, is a locker room leader. Like he is a guy that will fucking take control of the locker room. And I mean it shows. Like him, Moxley, and Bryan Danielson are taking control when Bryan Danielson isn't even a it wasn't even a first AEW guy. It was Moxley and
Mox.
Jericho.
Yeah, but I also think Brian garners such respect from the wrestling world that like even if he wasn't there on day one, they love him like he was.
Yeah. And
Um,
yeah, the whole spot happens where they don't want to do the fucking filming of breaking the glass. And so when does Jack Perry do that spot?
during this match with Hook in the
Oh, so
pre-show.
it was at the pay-per-view that he did that spot.
Yeah, he was like, fuck you. And he ended up doing the same spot that he was planning on doing on the pre-show. And he looks down the lens and says, it's real glass. Like, because
Yeah.
according to Jack Perry, like, incident happens, Hook wins, they go to the back. Apparently, reports vary, but the most, like, consistent reports state the following. Perry walks backstage, Punk approaches him aggressively, gets in his
Yeah.
face. Perry says, I was just trying to garner heat. Punk shoves him. Perry tries to take a swing. Punk gets him in a guillotine or like some kind of chokehold. Or like he punches him, then gets him in a chokehold, takes him down, and people are trying to separate them. And it's a big brawl. Monitors fall over, fall on Tony Khan. It's like a big thing. Punk said, fuck this place, I quit. Supposedly, he lunged at Khan, but reports vary if he like lunged as in like, I'm going to get you, or lunged as in like to get in his face, like, hey man, I
Like
quit.
to punk him.
Exactly. So reports varied on that aspect of it. Um, he's like, I quit. I'm not doing the match. Whatever, whatever. People were ready to like, okay, how do we stall for time? Maybe we can send out this match early. Who's ready to go? Apparently, the Young Bucks and Omega were like, hey man, we're ready to go if you need us to like opening match. Like they were already ready. But Joe manages to calm Punk down and be like, hey man, let's go out of this match. And Punk chills the fuck out apparently, goes out, bleeds, has his match with Joe, comes back, and he's told to leave the building along with Perry. They were both told to
Uh-huh.
leave. An investigation happens. They find out that, all this stuff happens. And Tony Khan probably makes the smartest decision he's made in regards to Punk and lets him go.
Okay, so the report you said that Perry threw the first punch. And then this is
No,
from the Wrestling Observer newsletter and
mm,
neutral source.
no, Punk threw the first punch.
Yeah, that's why.
And yeah.
And no, you said Perry.
No,
So
Perry Punk went up to Perry. Perry said, I was just trying to garner heat. Punk
uh,
shoves him. and then they scrapped. That's the report I have. But what did you
Okay,
say?
because I was looking at the one from the Wrestling Observer. So
Mm-hmm.
apparently, yeah, Punk approaches Perry nose to nose aggressively, claimed his on Kurt, and then Perry says, "Hey, dude, I was trying to get heat for my character," and Punk allegedly reacted by shoving Perry
Mm-hmm.
before, and then after that, Punk punched and choked Perry in front of Tony Khan. Once things were broken up, Punk allegedly lunges at Khan before telling the AEW boss that he would be quitting. Samoa Joe calmed down the situation, and then they had their match. So I'm guessing the report that you saw said that Punk threw the first punch, or
Yes.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So it
There
seems
was
like
a shove and then punch.
yeah. So it just seems like I don't know, dude. I don't know what the fuck is up with Punk that you take a fucking shove at Jack Perry, kid who's 20, what, 24?
If that, man, he's young. He's one of the four pillars for a reason.
Yeah, he's like 24.
Jack
You're fucking
Perry.
getting a pissing contest with a 24-year-old.
He's 26, but still, dude, like he's a young guy. Like that's it.
Like, what wrestler knew what they were doing at 26?
Fucking what adult knows what they're doing at 29?
Like, and then to take a swing at him, to hit him, to sucker punch him, and then fucking choke him out in front of the boss, and then to punk the boss, like, getting in their face.
Yeah.
Like, dude, that is so unprofessional. Do you think he shows up in WWE?
Um, I
I don't think Triple H gets him. I don't think Triple H takes him back.
I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up in WWE, but I don't think that they should. I think he's a cancer. I think Rollins clearly doesn't like him.
Oh
I
yeah,
think I think there's enough. Apparently, him and Regal. So there was an incident that happened right when Regal came out, like joined AEW, where Punk calls him a Triple H stooge and like disrespect him in front of everybody. Regal was like, "What the fuck?" That's why it never came out. Like Regal was like, "Dude, don't worry about it. Like I don't consider this a thing."
yeah.
Imagine William Regal no selling you. Yeah, he no sells it. But yeah, I feel like Punk. I understand he was still angry, but you gotta let shit go. Like with that Jack Perry spot. All right, motherfucker, I'll remember that later. And that's it. You don't have to get into fist fights. You don't have to have these altercations. But I think because of the smoke that TNT, Warner Brothers were blowing up his ass about, hey man, Collision's your show, you own it. Maybe he didn't think that they would touch him.
Yeah, I think
But
he has an overinflated ego. Did you see the video that I sent you? The one where Triple H was on the Stone Cold
oh, he's a
podcast?
weird cat. He's a weird
Yeah, he's
cat to get
like,
to
dude,
know.
he's just weird. Like, he's not your typical wrestler. And that he would hear from the locker room, "Hey, Punk's gonna quit. Punk's gonna quit," and he'd go up to him, and then Punk would be like, "No, I'm fine."
I'm good, homie. I'm changing. What's up?
Like,
Um,
I don't know, dude. That guy has so much baggage. I'm really curious as to what the fuck's going on with him.
um, he I think he believes he is the hero of his story because that's what all villains believe. I'm the hero of my story. No
Oh
one
yeah,
is the bad guy
everyone
intentionally.
thinks that they're the fucking hero.
They're like, oh god, they just don't understand me. Which I wonder how his wife deals with them. Like, I wonder how that works.
Hey
He's married to
AJ,
AJ Lee.
you need anybody? Give me a call.
I guarantee you, not Fernie, not you.
Calypsy,
Um,
dude, guess who called me?
no fucking way. Can you get his tickets? No, have Punk sign this stuff for me first, and then she can leave him.
But yeah, like that dude is just a weird fucking cat, and it's just I don't know. It really does start to line up with what people say about him.
Unfortunately, man, because like I always, up until Brawl Out, I was always of the opinion of like
No,
he's just an acquired taste. To me, he was just an acquired taste. And then
he's
after that fight with the Bucks,
good.
For real, I liked him, dude, because he cut such great promos. He was a great storyteller. But I think this is one of the situations where the talent and the wrestler is so good that he sabotages himself with his ego.
But
Because
do you
that's
think he
happened
was
before.
better by himself in the ring? Because that's where his real promos were. Like where he was by himself and I never really saw a lot where like he was going toe to toe with someone.
Watch his promo battle with The Rock, with Cena, with MJF.
Uh,
That MJF promos were amazing, even when they were face to face. That promo battle that he had with MJF in November, I
uh,
remember watching the highlight. It was like a 20-minute video, and I remember watching it on the way to work and just being like, "God damn!" He hit MJF with "You're." I always thought MJF just stood for my jealous fan, or "You're just a less famous Miz." Like, fuck, you went there. Um. So no, I think he was a great promo. I think he was a great wrestler too. Like in the ring, all
his later
star.
years, no.
No, I still say so. He had a great matches with Darby Allin on Dynamite, Rampage, whenever he wrestled. Eddie Kingston, that brawl, his dog collar match with MJF. I liked all his matches. To me, he never had a bad match in the bunch. But
I think what just
unfortunately,
sullied his view with me is just like the backstage shit. Like it's like, why do you have to be such a dick?
well, see, and I wonder is this one of those incidents where like if they pulled so in the 90s there were plenty of backstage incidents, right, between Brett and Sean and all that. Do you think if Sean was a young wrestler today, would people put up with this shit or would they just like cap him? I feel like they would cap him.
I mean, it's. I think Sean was doing more shit than what wrestlers are doing today because there was no internet.
Yeah. So, but do you think Sean would have gotten away with it today if it was happening today?
I mean, Sean back then was something else. Like he was good on the mic, he was good as a performer. Like and he's just something else. It's just really what headache are you willing to deal with?
You're not wrong.
But to be fair, I don't think Sean was fighting people in the back.
I don't think, and I know Shawn Michaels could probably kick my ass right now. I don't think he had it in him to fight people.
Well,
Because remember,
I don't think he was the type to just fight someone.
I think he was a
I,
clown. Like he would clown you,
yeah,
but
I
he
think
wouldn't
he'll
fight you.
talk shit, but like I don't think he was the type to like start throwing punches.
No, I don't think so either. But, but yeah, man. So that's the run of CM Punk. One great year and one really flawed year.
Do you think Punk did that to to make up for his two UFC fights?
Oh God,
Where he
dude,
got
and
punked by Mickey Gall and that other dude.
dude,
I
I
can't
almost,
fight.
dude, I'm so fucking disappointed. Like, I almost think, and this is, I loved his first year back in AEW. Maybe he shouldn't have come back. Maybe he should have just stayed away and been like, no, that my WWE run is all you get, and been done with it.
What you mean
And
the illusion? Like, what if he does come back? Like, let
I,
that live on?
yeah, or just be the one guy that never came back. Like almost like, well, kind of like Sean was. You know how he never returned to the ring except for that one fucking time in Saudi Arabia. Like the illusion
Yeah,
of that, being the one guy that didn't go back on his word, the one guy that didn't return. I
yeah,
almost kind of wish because I feel like AEW, as much as it elevated him, I feel like it also like torpedoed his reputation. Because what TNA is going to want him now? Like, there's only two big dogs in town,
yeah.
and
It just reinforced what people either already thought of him or they were kind of thinking about him already.
and
Like,
see, I
it just did that.
see. Here's the thing, though. Also, I don't think Punk was necessarily lying when he said that Vince and Triple H, well, namely Vince, was a bastard. I don't think he was wrong, but you really damage like your reputation when, in part, you're like, no, he was difficult to work with.
Yeah.
And all that had to happen was if Khan had kept him in fucking check. That's all that had to happen. Was Khan being like, hey man, I'm a big fan, but I also really love money. So I need you to work this shit out, chill the fuck out or something. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to let you go.
Well, what Khan needs to do is just, I mean, he needs to fucking He needs to let his balls drop.
Well, also in that public statement when Khan kind of addressed like, "Hey, this is why I fired Punk." He did it right before Collision in Chicago.
Yeah, he got booed.
Uh, oh no, actually, if you watch more other videos, he got cheered also.
Oh
He
yeah.
managed to turn boos into cheers, depending on where you listen.
Uh,
But he mentions that Punk contract was terminated due to his own cause. Like Punk causes. I guarantee you, he lost
Brett
millions.
screwed Brett.
Brett screwed Brett, and Punk screwed Punk. Imagine if Khan had cut that promo. Punk screwed Punk.
He should have.
But apparently he cost Punk cost himself millions because I think he had signed a 3-year
And I
contract.
mean millions.
Can you imagine you threw a few rounds and that cost you $5, $6, $7 million?
Ugh, that is just ridiculous.
I mean, obviously Punk never has to work again. I'm sure he's smart with his money, but like,
Yeah,
imagine.
I'm pretty sure like he's good with money, but I mean it's just like I mean way to go, dude. Now you don't get to wrestle anymore, and you're not making millions upon millions of dollars, and you don't have a show anymore.
You ever think he goes into the Hall of Fame, WWE?
I mean that requires him getting good with Vince. I don't see that ever fucking happening.
All right, what if Vince is dead and Triple H gets the final say? You think he goes to the Hall of Fame?
I think it's worse. I think Triple H doesn't like it more than Vince. I think Vince will have a better chance at getting him back than Triple H.
Really? I think it's the other way around. I feel like Vince dislikes him more than Triple H.
No, because even Vince has said on podcasts like that he would be open to it.
Well, Vince told Fox when they were like, "Hey man, sign Punk, we'll pay half." He was like, "I will sign anyone but him. He's the one dude I can't do business with."
Mm.
But I
It's
don't know,
just,
man.
I mean, Punk screwed Punk.
Yeah,
Doesn't help that this was already his reputation beforehand, and he was rehabilitating it. But I mean, hey, that's what happens.
yeah. Well, fuck. But
Does that
yeah,
change
so
your image of him?
the wrestler, no. The person, yeah.
Does that make it a
My
little bit harder to watch?
no, I can
Will
watch.
you be able to watch his AEW stuff knowing that this is how it ends?
Fuck yeah.
Mm.
It doesn't damage unless it does something horrendous. No, it doesn't damage to me. It doesn't damage
He
it.
rubbed his balls on Jack Perry's face.
Jack Perry, you were that was greatness. That was greatness all over your face. You're welcome.
Uh,
Um, yeah, no, it doesn't damage him at all to me. It's just like knowing how squandered this last run was. That's what gets me. Like son of a bitch, man. Like
way to go! You wasted it.
I would have paid for a New Japan pay-per-view if he had wrestled Okada. Imagine that match.
Do you think he goes to New Japan?
I don't think they would want him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe, but I don't think they'd want him. But I would buy that match. If he wrestled Okada, I'd buy it.
No. I mean, my
But
verdict is this. Like, on a whole CM Punk situation, there's just always something, like, iffy about Punk that I was just, like, there was just something I just couldn't get behind. I don't know if it was his promos or what. Like, there was just something about it. And I guess it's always, like, I always have that tendency to be like, if you're not gonna be real, like there's something shady about you. And I feel like he was doing some shady shit.
yeah,
And so like with all the shit that's happened, it just kind of reinforces like what I thought. Like this guy was doing something like shady behind the scenes, or he's putting up a front of who he was.
would
And
you
I mean now it's this.
would you watch his matches? Like, do you go back and watch them ever?
I've seen some of them, but it's just that I had stopped watching when he started getting big. So I mean, I just kind of missed the whole Punk era.
That's fair. I didn't become like a mega fan until post he left WWE. I went back and rewatched a lot of his stuff. I
Mm.
was watching him. I liked him. I remember seeing him at 28. I think 29 was the first WrestleMania. No, I saw 29. And I fell off the wagon. Like I didn't care for stuff with Ryback or Del Rio or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So, no. But all right, I guess that's gonna cut it for this episode.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
I,
Welcome
I don't know how to
to
end it.
um, uh,
Thank you everyone for staying for the 11 count.
yeah.
We'll try to put out a podcast every couple of weeks or something like that. I don't know. This is our first one.
We're gonna bullshit this
We'll
as we
work
go.
on
Let's be
it.
honest. Yeah. We'll fucking on with that
We'll
as we
work
go.
on it. We'll see how it goes.
All right. Uh, all right. Let's end it like this. Fernie, favorite Fisher, go.
Favorite finisher, Goldberg spear.
Really? Okay.
I've always loved Goldberg spear. Just like him setting up in the fucking corner,
Hmm.
uh, just having that football spear.
Yeah.
And his spear looked legit, like it
Oh, it looked like
hurt.
it hurt. It
And then
legit
he
looked like it
fucking
hurt.
jump up and do like the bang.
Oh, I need to do the weird thing with.
And then you do the jackhammer. He's the only guy that made a fucking suplex look like a fucking finisher.
No, but dude, those are his second best finishers. Let's be honest.
I would say Goldberg spear. Probably my favorite
Hmm.
as a kid.
Fair. Although I think Goldberg's best finishing move was that kick he hit Bret Hart with.
Oh yeah. You mean the one that Bret Hart's still salty about today?
uh,
Did you see
yeah.
Jericho and Goldberg on the podcast? And Goldberg even tells Jericho, "Did I ever hurt you in the ring?" And Jericho's like, "No, you never hurt me once." And I would say that we didn't even like each other, like when we were in the ring together. He's like, "Yeah, we really didn't like each other." So
Mm.
he's pretty much just saying, like, dude, I didn't try to fucking hurt you. It was just an accident.
Shit happens.
Yeah. But Brett's the sour bitch that keeps fucking saying all this shit. You shouldn't have let him wrestle. It was irresponsible of you. Then you shouldn't have gone to WCW.
I mean, Vince offered. Oh wait, no, he kind of got for. You know what? Fuck it. Do you want to talk about a screw job next time? We both have strong opinions on it.
Sure.
Fuck it. We're talking about the screw job next week. Topical wrestling podcast.
All right.
All right,
Thank you for
everyone.
joining us for the 11th count. This was our first podcast. Let's give it the 3 count. Ding, ding,
Uh,
ding.
there you go. Yeah, that'll be the outro. Bitch.